Previously on the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve.
It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it.
He can't prove shit. I must warn you.
What? Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you?
Yeah, sorry about that. How many more ways can we say back to it? Okay, it's trial time, everybody. Let's go. Start with a burp. First burp. Yes. Oh my god, I sound so stupid. So much for video retention. Haha. 9:10 a.m. The Old Bailey. Let's go. Courtroom number what? Did they only have one courtroom back then? It's amazing they got as much done as they did. Then again, population was a lot lower. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrayne. Ha ha ha, what a name. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense declare their willingness to proceed. Would you stop burping? The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, my lord. No hesitancy. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more...
Oh, I'm without Susan or something today.
Oh, that was beautiful the way they showed that. Oh my god. Ugh, I got nobody. It's just myself. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? Eyes darting around. Well, so far the scales are even, and that's about as good as it's going to get for the next 3 hours, so might as well get used to it. So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well. Mr. Odiasman. Mr. Odious Man. There's like this ASMR video that's like unintelligible, but I swear I hear them say odious in it. And like, I can never unhear that. Anyway, Mr. Asman was well known as a farter, although that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It's kind of like McGonagall, really. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zeeks, but the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. Those powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. Jeez. But 2 days ago, on 21st of October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? It was not me, Your Honor. It was the one-armed man. If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrayne. He's like being really calm, so he's not like slamming his fist on or anything. Very well then, if you say so, I'll believe you, because you're so cool. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the six... I didn't really see them. I need to take a look here. Holy fuck! Man, Sponge Green Squarebeard was one thing. This guy's got an actual block for a face. Ow, my face! Frickin' Xenoblade 3 DLC. I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Ooh, you're pretty.
To have a man's weight in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine.
All my girl voices are like this thing. Oh, a magician. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. And they really are. Oh my... Is that George Washington? No. Well, Man, you've got more pudges in your face than I have udges in my pants. Any spurious scholar that defies the reputation of science deserves to hang.
I'm waiting for this.
What? What is going on here? You're allowed to bring food into the courtroom? This place is awesome! Are you seeing this? You've got some big teeth, lady, I gotta tell you. Nice freckles, though.
Oh, you have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence, and then said on one. That's it, isn't it?
And sleeping on the job. Wait, is that the guy that we just saw in the museum? Wasn't like this in my day, wasn't like this at all. Well, this is an interesting crowd. Ugh. Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, sure enough. I tell you. Yeah, he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Okay. Now, as I'm sure you are all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse. With the exception of the victim, no one was killed. That's quite amazing in itself. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned to a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and such the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. Every single time, the stakes are just as high as they can possibly be. How do they keep managing to convince me that the stakes are bigger than they've ever been before? When, I don't know. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. You don't feel, you know. Don't think you are. Know you are. So your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zeeks. Lord Mole. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. More than just that, Your Honor. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous. You know what? Screw this. Huh. Good lord, what did you say? It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Like in Willy Wonka, you know? Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? No. Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity. My goodness, how shocking! Skip number 3. He has nothing to say about it. Well, he's a magician, so maybe he believes in it. The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. It's something like that. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. Yeah, Mr. Sholmes is kind of a science guy, so like, I mean... What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert, with no harm done, that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Is that what he said? I don't know. Well, I don't think he means it in the same way that we think he does, like they achieved the same effect, but not by the means that they said they would, you know. The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. Yeah, there was that too. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Asmund's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. Is that how that works? Like, you had to, like, get his permission, his signature, and then, like, you know... I don't know. Okay, whatever. This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Yeah. Well, that's what we're going with. That's what he's going with. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution's stance is clear. Clear and present danger. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Witnesses. Gladly, my lord. Yep, he's... he always looks so cool. I can never get over how buff, like, how thick the top of their bodies are compared to how their waists are, but their waists are still chunky. Like, how do they manage to do that? I don't know. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand. I call the parrot to the stand. Oh, yeah. Well, this is going to be a good start. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir! Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. You've seen me before, but not like this. You better believe this is going to be awesome. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the final investigation. Oh, right, I'm here. That's right, I'm in a courtroom, I should be saying something. Huh. Albert Harebrayne, Science East. Yep, that's pretty much it. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Correct? I pressed the button, it didn't work. Yes, that's right. After graduating from university in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery. Which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. Instantaneous kinesis worked.
Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was the terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success.
Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the Oh god, here we go. Here we go! Oh man, yeah, that's him alright. There's like a blood spatter on his chest, right in the heart, too. Huh. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. He is just laying in such a peaceful position. Like, usually, when people go flying through a window, they land in some weird position, like Jim Carrey in, what movie was that? Was it Ace? It wasn't Ace. It was Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. So anyway. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. Ugh. Well. I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence. The photograph of the victim has been entered into the court record. Alright. Well, we've kind of seen that already, so I don't feel any cause to look at it right now. I mean, well, should I? I mean, is there something on the back of it? Well, we got all this other shit in here, too. No, that's pretty much it, yeah. Ugh. Gross, man. What, maybe, did the crossbow do this? Maybe he got shot by the crossbow while he was in the machine, and because of that, that's why the machine messed up, or something? Or did whatever it did? I mean, it did something, that's for damn sure. As the court's heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Assman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being. Yeah, because if there's one thing Ace Attorney has gotten really good at, it's putting the victim on trial. They do it all the time. He was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? How much of an asshole do you have to be, man? But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right, that must be it! My splendid machine! My poor, splendid machine! Which you will not ever get the copyrights to. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the special dispensing for that thing. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. Extremely simply. Wow. Well, I beg your pardon. I cannot keep this hair on to save my life. Isn't that right, witness? No? What? Sorry, me? Yes, you. No, your neighbor. I don't live next to that dude. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone can say that with complete certainty. What? How can he possibly think that? Well, I mean, from his eyes, you know, you gotta think it, like, I don't know. Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been front for murder. Good God Almighty. It's going. We're doing it, man. Witness testimony. Front for murder. Let's see what we got. The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. You're saying he had a broken neck before he went crashing through the Crystal Tower? I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. Well, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? You know, teleport him to the wrong place and he end up on Jupiter. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Right in the heart, just like I said. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. No. Present the crossbow, we're done. I mean, basically. An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. He probably got the broken neck after he was already dead. I mean, can you do that? I assume you can do that. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. Someone other than Udgy Poo. The coroner says death would have all been but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. Wow. Are you really going to go for that? Because that is a Hail Mary if I have ever seen one. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. I hear the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. Oh, this too? Oh yeah, we've seen this though.
The victim stood himself inside something called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly. Poof and poof. This actually happens on the paper, believe it or not. To the second level of the Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away. 25 yards. That's half a football field. No, that's a quarter of a football field. Okay. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. Instead, poof, as the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Oh. And he hit one of the hot air balloons. Holy shit, dude. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair. Wait, what? The birdcage went with him? Hang on a second. I'm sure I'm reading that wrong. From where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. Did the birdcage? No. Because the birdcage was still there on the... I mean, if the birdcage is what I think it is. There were like all those metal things, but that might be something different. My word, one assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower then. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. Powerful, but honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident. A terrible accident. You did not just turn into Arnold, my man. Unfortunately, that accent can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report, not updated, by the way, submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. The autopsy report has been entered in the court record. Okay. Now let's look at that. In a second. As soon as we get done. I was all hunched over again. I was there in person, you know. Wait. Here, hang on, I'm gonna look at this before I try to do that voice again. Name Odie Asman, age 47, nationality British, time of death 21st October around 2:20 p.m. Cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations, a broken vertebra most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. Yeah, but if the cause of death was the hemorrhage of the wound to the chest that pierced the heart, then that's what killed him, the crossbow, not the experiment or whatever. Well, if it was the crossbow, though, I'm just assuming. I don't know what else it could have been. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And it was not as good as Spaceballs, I can tell you that. The only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please, and good luck, let me tell you. Oh yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. It's been a while since I was in court. Front for murder. Alright. The corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. We are pressing. Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly. Which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Oh. When he said rum business, I was like, oh, did somebody get drunk? You have rum and coke? After the explosion, the cage with the fellow inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. Did anybody actually see this? Because... So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis, maybe somebody in a hot air balloon had a cage up there and they just dropped it from the hot air balloon? Like, they did point out that detail earlier, I wonder. They're always doing that too, like they point out a detail and then bring it up later. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. Well, it sounds more like... Wait a minute. So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only these dumbass scientists can do it. Only me. Ugh. Only you got it wrong, didn't you? Excuse me. Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. People fall for that brazen confidence. I should try it.
They do, actually. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asman was wearing at the time, I suppose. No, he got naked. No, he didn't, actually, because he was... Oh, jeez! Crackly comments, the answer should have been 3. 3 what? Wait. 3... So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Well, I think he meant like 3 pounds or something. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. Okay. Might as well keep doing this. Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds, it doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? Or they like both happen at the same time. Obviously, at first we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that I'm all the way on the right side of the screen? That's not the case? You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips, if you don't keep butting in every few seconds. But we all know that's a bottomless bag. Breaking the fourth wall. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that that is the cause of death. Well, this is another one of those situations, and if he was already dead... Well, that's tricky. Right, that's what we all thought, but it was a red herring, wasn't it? I suppose. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Or are you going to say it was just shrapnel or something? The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. You should have come visit my house this morning. Then I could have given it to you. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused's tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest, the screwdriver, right? Yep. This. Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it? Counts out. Ah! There he is. What? My trusty little companion, Andrew. Oh, I thought the A was because of his last name. Okay. It's Andrew, of course. But he's not a laughing boy. You know, he's not that type. How do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Do you have letters on all of them, too? Maybe your drill is named Patrick or something. I don't know. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Thank you for that. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. What do you say about that? Yeah. Doesn't look like it went deep enough, though. You know, it looks like it went maybe an inch or 2. I guess that would be enough, though. Like, if you puncture the heart, maybe. And but there was a lot of blood there, though. That's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. Oh, okay, if you say that, then yeah. I'll take your word for it. Loath as I may be after what you did in Case 5 of the last game, but anyway. You, like, cut some deals with some guy, it's a long story. The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Screwdriver has been entered in the court record. We should definitely look at that. So one of Professor Harebrayne's tools is the murder weapon. Great. Yeah, from this angle it doesn't look like he's as hunched. But when they show him from the side and he's doing that, man. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. You know, we'll check the screwdriver first. Just examine here. Yeah, that's, yeah. That's not good. This is blood. I really miss having someone on the other side of the screen to interact with here. Mr. Asman's no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Anything down here? Nothing in particular? Wait. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Huh. Which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Are you saying, like, because it was there and not sticking out of the guy's body, that it couldn't have been the murder weapon? What does it say now for screwdriver? screwdriver that was found poking through the grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine. Yeah, so, like... Sounds like I need to present that here. I'm actually just gonna press this. Hang on a second. What grounds do you have for saying that? Ha! You really need to ask. There were only 2 people on that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odiasman, and the accused, Professor Harebrayne. The Professor. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion in kinesis, I love that he puts kinesis in quotation marks. Well, those are actually single quotes, so whatever. Nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. Wait, what? Hang on. Hello. You got something? Pursue it.
Excuse me!
Excuse me! Professor Harebrayne, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor, why are you biting your nails? Seriously. Sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis everyone calls in the human body. What is he doing? And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seemed as though you might have something to say. About Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right. Of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman, as you say. Yeah? Explain, please, Professor. Explain, please. Of course, these cold-hearted policemen may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I've heard. Oh, because there's no blood on the scene? Then surely you see. If I plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. I mean, not really. I mean, that's a pretty good argument, actually. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. This guy should be his own lawyer, good lord. You see, not one. Well, what the hell are you doing? Two, I didn't say anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Too bad I didn't think of it. Order! Let me just pour some wine. Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's thing. Oh, his wrist is so chunky when he does this. And his arm. And his armpit. Everything's just so chunky. I love it. Here's to you, Albert. Right? Oh, you're too kind, Brock. But I'm really not a patch on you. Well. No, you're not. No. You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have. What, did you left the screwdriver in him so the blood wouldn't come out? Because that's the only thing I can think he's about to say here. A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir, here we go. Where are they going with this? Yeah, I know where they're going. And that's why we have to examine the screwdriver, because it was found in the grill, so, like, we know that it did come out before he left the stage. Very well, you will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Okay, alright, here we go. Here we go. Gotcha. You say that while the weapon remains in the body. There's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Unequivocal as it gets, my man. Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. Sheesh, what do I have to do? Do cartwheels up here? The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yeah, it came up in the first case, too, so that was actually Susanoo's case, so... Yes, but about the screwdriver... The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Touching the sword. I love when he touches the sword! Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? yeah. Well, now you come to mention it. Yeah, I guess you did, didn't you? Inspector, are we to understand that you didn't do your job of keeping them away from looking at the scene so that I could win this case? And whatever else I said there? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I'd just let him look, nothing more. It's because Iris was there, and I'm such a big fan and everything, you know? Yeah, but you can't stop people's eyes from darting around and taking in information, which they will do. That's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. Yeah, we don't want to throw him under the bus here. But it shouldn't have been, should it? Well, where are you getting that? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. So then, yeah, it's more likely it was the crossbow that did it, and the bow would still be in his body, and that's why. But then somebody would have had to pull it out, though, at some point. The other thing is, if that's the case, and why is there blood on the screwdriver? That would be the other question. Huh. That's right. Unless the screwdriver was being used as a bolt, which I seriously... Well, no, that wouldn't make sense either. Anyway, it should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Ugh. Well, don't lose your fish and chips now. You're just getting started on that bag. It's nice and crispy. There's some tartar sauce in there. Order! How do you explain this, Inspector? Well... Shit if I know. Hell if I know. It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. Thank you for putting beamed in quotation marks. Seriously. Single quotation marks. If the screwdriver was still in the chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. Hell yeah, dude. My lord. If the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Oh, he's mad. He is mad. Look at his hair. He's so mad. Lord Van Zeeks is stumped. What? Who the... Oh, it's the professor. That's his voice, isn't it? Yeah, I had a feeling. At first I thought it was Ouchie. It's like, what the hell is he doing here? Do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there's no inconsistency. What? But we need there to be. That's how... Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, it wouldn't have warped because it's made of metal, you see. Ah, is this true? Is that actually what he's gonna say? Because, it can only be that certain things don't warp because either they're made of something, and, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm done with that bottle. It would seem your illusions have been shattered, like my bottle just now. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation. Man. Well, let's not forget, he and the defendant went to university together, so... Yeah, it's funny that he would... I don't know. Well, I mean, you always want to tell the truth. Like, regardless of if it hurts your case. But, like... I was winning there until he came up with that, and you would think he would want me to win, but... Well, that's the thing, though. Like, we're trying to get to the truth. The only way we're going to do that is sometimes to take a few steps back to get back on the right track on something. So, provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Oh, excuse me, these glasses are so slippery, man. Sweating all over the place. Mm-hmm. That does say Harebrayne, doesn't it? It's just very shortened, or something. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. I'm all alone up here now. This is so cool. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. Yeah, but what about the handle? Is the handle metal, too? Because it looked wood to me, but I don't know. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Well, that's that. I mean, where is... It's metal. So if the metal is touching the body... They're not going to go that deep into it, I'm sure. So the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is... that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, you're full of crap, that's what. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrayne could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see. He really cares about the hypothesis then, doesn't he? And that's what he's out to find out, even if it hurts his case, though. We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Professor Harebrayne? Yes. Whose side are you on here? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. He's on the side of science, man, the truth. You don't care. I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. Is this some kind of game to you? Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Well, he just said, neither, really. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. See, do your worst. These voices are killing me here, man. Alright, are we ready? To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. Okay, yeah. And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way. Yeah, because I just figured it out. No scientist can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those were the words of a certain scientist I hold in the very highest esteem. That was the professor, probably. But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you? Like I care. No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. That's exactly what I thought he was going for. More words of the same great scientist, you know. Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist? I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. What? But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know. It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind. You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. This scatterbrain even forgets my name at times. So Lord Van Zeeks really did have a friend once. I didn't notice hell freezing over. That was cute. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal. So this is the crux of it here. We gotta figure out what all this is. Your hypothesis states it, so this isn't proven then. No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations that I did right here on this sheet of paper. You want to see? But it's widely known that metals can be decomposed by electrolysis. Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct. Ugh. What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? So happy. It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see. Yeah, you mentioned that. Sorry, the birdcage? Yes, that's what I call the C obtusa cage. C. The C trigger, I'll tell you, in which Mr. Asman was placed for the kinesis. Okay. Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. Oh, that's it right there. I see it now. That's why he's laying so straight then, because he's still inside of it. Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. That would have been really hard to shoot him with a crossbow if he was inside of that, though. Like, the odds of it not hitting the cage itself, you'd have to be pretty accurate. Well, the jail cell in which the victim was detained, it does indeed seem to be made of a timber of some sort. I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship. In short, any weapon lodged in the victim when he was beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct? Yep, that's it. Yes, yes, yes. It all fits perfectly with the mathematical model. This guy is crazy, man. But the ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury on the victim, is it not? Like, I feel like somebody would have seen that. Like, he would have had to reach over and literally stab him with his hands to do that. Ah, indeed, sir. Someone beam me out of this nightmare. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't any inconsistency at all. Wait, go back. Go back to... Oh, shit. I just pressed number 4. I thought pressing L would go back to the third statement, but yeah. How'd you come to know Mr. Asman in the first place? Well, yeah. What? A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work. That's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles. I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis and great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered-down water out of a tiny little glass. And it's alright to be a little bitty. But Mr. Asman read... Yes, that was a country song reference, I can't believe it. Mr. Asman read the paper and came to visit me in my tiny little laboratory. And offered you money to help fund your work. Exactly, that's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Asman provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the three of us produced that fantastic machine together. An engineer? I feel like he might have mentioned that before, actually. The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate. We had to apply to the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things. Mr. Asman took care of all of it. He was a wonderful man. Really, I owe him everything. Okay, alright. Okay, let's go back to... Here we go, back to number 3. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Hart isn't inconsistent at all. I mean, if the rest of what he said is true, we don't even need to press this, but whatever. You seem to be pleased by that. Yes, another example of my hypothesis holding true. But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased? No. I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Asman losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse, I know that. No, you're quite right. We're both right and we're both wrong, jeez. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Asman? Oh, well, no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. And we only ever discussed my hypothesis and the project, and the research grant, of course. Okay, so that's where we're at on that. But he did say he was a great man. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Okay. What you want? What you got? When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean that you were involved in its construction? Yes. I think so. Well, not exactly. I think we went to the mall. No, we didn't. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer. Do we know who this engineer is? Have we seen him? Little remains of your creation now, though. Following the explosion, repair will no doubt be impossible. Yes, I realize that, but still. Maybe I could be like Doc Ock, build another one, build it bigger, build it better. We'll do it here. If someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. This is not Xenoblade, nobody's gonna take all the time to gather all that shit. But Mr. Asman and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I have to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident. And there's the end of it all. That's the extent of the testimony, then that's the end of the Shredder. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. Could have, would have, should have. But it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Do we have to disprove his hypothesis then? I kind of hope not, but what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? Okay, alright. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. It's the metal weapon will stay put. Okay, well, can I look at the photograph? Was there something metal in the photograph, maybe? Examine. Well, his glasses, maybe? Would they really expect me to notice something that small? I guess. Nothing else, like the buckles on the belts that are holding him in. Those are like wood, so... His glasses, though. Maybe that's it. That would disprove it. I mean, I don't know what else. Like, that's the only way we know that something got transported. I think I might try this. Yeah.
Objection!
Professor Harebrayne, I got something to tell you, and you're not going to like it. You say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on, exactly correct. In that case, I would ask you to have a look at this. Look at this graph! Oh, man. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. Ow, my face! Oh, you can clearly see that Mr. Asman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. Ah. What? Metal? No, metal can't. That's not... metal? Oh, I kind of feel bad for him, though, because, like, ah. We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Exactly. So basically, by saying this, we're also saying the screwdriver, if it was the murder weapon, would be there in his body still. Professor Harebrayne, this isn't easy for me to say, but you're gonna live. Your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Order! Stop screaming like that. It's driving me crazy. Counsel, what is the implication of this? If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. Ooh. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. Shite, man! But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work. If I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society that suddenly now has a southern accent. Yes, sir, number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science. You don't even drink from beakers, my friend. What? Great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect? It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I'll say the records of that machine to be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No, never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis! It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What the devil is that blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Help him how? Prove him innocent, or prove that his hypothesis could still be real? I think I might wait and see on this. Maybe I should watch and wait for the time being. My feeling is that the machine requires a thorough examination. Sorry if these voices get inconsistent. I don't remember. I'm never... like, if I've been doing them... let's just go. The machine requires a thorough examination, yeah. But what about the special dispensation that's been mentioned? Oh gosh, it's all too much. She sounds like C-3PO. If it's determined that the machine itself was the murder weapon, I think you'll find that act won't apply. Of course he was the murder weapon. Anyone can see that as plain as day. So we're all in agreement, are we? That the machine should be stripped? If I don't do something, they'll...
Objection!
Oh, no, he's gonna do it for me. Wait a minute, that was me, never mind. Oh, Professor Harebrayne has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public? He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing. Yeah. Wow. I love that his objection is like in calligraphy. Or choreography, as Chris Neal would say. Like, who the hell is Chris Neal? He hadn't obvious reason to do exactly that. What, like as a front for the murder or something? For the research... Oh, right, yeah. I'd not even considered that. And that's the angle they're going with right now, that he's a sham scientist, so that's not helping at all. If the government was foolish enough to have deemed this man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Your liquid just turned yellow, sir. Why did it do that? Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? 10 pounds? Huh. You're an order of magnitude out, madam. 500 pounds a year. Oh, that's how much they sent to Shawshank. Wait, but that was dollars. Well, alright, you could have had some on that much for years. Why you talk like that? The Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. And plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding pie and cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you. Yeah, I don't doubt that. No, I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
Well, shit, I don't. No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen of the courtroom and the jury, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success. I'm kind of starting to see now why he wanted this case, or why he's taking it. And therefore, the only person who could possibly have committed this murder is the accused. Oh, damn it. I thought you were run by Sidemen. Oh, Barack. Where is this heading? I have no idea. It almost sounds like Van Zeek still wants him to get the grant money. Has he gotten it yet? Like, I guess. Or maybe he has gotten it and used it to make the machine. I don't know. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zeeks? I don't know what you're getting at, pal. The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What will be the nature of their involvement? The engineer, perhaps? The guy who built the machine? They were spectators of the demonstration and the exhibition. The exhibition, who were occupying special seats. Special seats? Yeah, we need to know. Like, did this actually happen? They're saying he was teleported. They're still saying that. I just find that so hard to believe. Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. We need to know about this. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. The experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim, there on the public stage, before the very eyes of the spectators. Wish I could have been there. Now, my learned friend... Isn't learned like a compliment? Because that means you've studied, you learned. I don't know. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. Dude, I don't know what my stance even is right now. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? Oh, somebody's playing Skyward Sword. Good! We shall take a short recess now. Oh, well, this is perfect. Jeez, I don't want to stop, though. During which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Xenoblade 3. Oh my god, he said it! Dude! I'm telling you! Good! In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. And there you go. Just enough time for me to take this dump. Get this dump out, this candy cane-shaped dump. And that's what it's going to be, because 3 out of 4 dumps that I take are shaped like a candy cane. Other times... Yeah, save. Okay. Saving... Boy, how many save slots do you get in this? I think I've looked at this already. Well, it shows I'm kind of on the right side, yeah. You got plenty more. It'd be no big deal if we save over these other ones here. So yeah, alright. Well, in the next episode, where he's calling new witnesses, I have no idea. Is he going to call Gina, maybe? I feel like he's going to call either Gina, the engineer, or somebody we haven't seen yet, and I have no idea who it's going to be. I really don't want to stop right now, man. Ugh. This game, I'm telling you. Alright, anyway. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me through this. This is so cool. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.